everybody. I'm the Bigglesworth, and welcome back to Sevtech Ages. Now, I know that my voice sounds a little bit different, and the tempo of it sounds a little bit different. Everything's going to feel a little bit different in this episode because, to a point, I'm not in character. And I know you're like, wait a minute, what do you mean character, Piggy? What do you mean? Well, I would say 90 to 95% of the Pigglesworth is myself, who I am in real life, just the way that I goof off and make jokes and all of that. But 5% of it is kind of a persona that I create when I'm on camera, which I'll explain. And I'll explain why all this feels very strange and weird here in just a second. Okay, so on screen we can see that I have basically been able to open up the entire map by exploration and found a few different things. There was this upper left-hand corner, you got this blue face thing. I think that's like a Hydra or something, I'm not sure. It's surrounded by 4 different gray boxes, which ends up being like, I can't remember how I figured it out, but there's something like these 4 different areas, and it looks like the same thing around the frozen area. There's 4 areas around it. Matter of fact, now that I'm looking at it, the ghast has 4 areas around it, and in the upper, like halfway up right-hand corner side, you can see the square shape with looks like 4 stalactite or stalagmite things. There's also 3 different shaped hill types, and in the way upper right hand corner there's this weird square shape or something. But basically what I had done was I ran around and I exposed the entire map so that I could see where things are, but I didn't really explore what those new things are yet. But why in the world does all this sound different? Why in the world is this not synchronizing with the video we're watching? Well, I made a mistake. This is probably one of the first times I've ever actually done this. I'm pretty methodical about everything that I do, but somehow I recorded this episode and then I didn't export my audio from Audacity for my voice. So I went ahead and recorded the episode before this one, and the episode after this one in a Saturday afternoon. Saturday morning, I had some emergency stuff come up, and I had to deal with that, and I think that kind of threw me off my game a little bit as far as my personal routine and how I do filming and everything. And so I guess when I went to do this video, I exported the video, and I forgot to do the audio. So the voice track is completely gone. So as I see stuff going on and I kind of remember what I'm doing, I'll try to comment on that. But as I forget things that happened, I'll go ahead and comment other stuff. Now I know that I needed to explore something. See, it's been like 5 or 6 days since I even recorded these, so I can't exactly remember what I'd done in the previous episode. And I want to try and make sure I don't spoil what's supposed to happen in the next episode by mentioning stuff. But it looks like I needed to make a polishing kit there because my helmet was completely worn out. Figured out that we've got to still do some more exploration in the Twilight Forest, even though I thought we were just about to get away from it. We're actually going to be able to move on. But this is going to be more of a commentary type track. I thought I would take the advantage. Maybe we can try something a little bit different. I'm going to just, be a little bit more laid back and just, talk about stuff. A surprise commentary talk about episode where the video makes no sense based off of what I'm talking about. Unless I suddenly go, oh, hey, I know what I was doing. But yeah, years ago, I went to a church and they had puppets for kids. And I was a part of that team. Excuse me. I've always wanted to try acting and just different stuff like that. And, I do music and drawing since I was a little kid and writing stories, just always creative and multiplicity of outputs. And so they came up, they wanted to do these puppets, and I'm like, whoa. Well, there's a chance for me to kind of do a little bit of acting, maybe come up with some different voices and stuff that I could do for different characters and try to give these characters personalities and stuff. And so that's what I did. I had 2 or 3 different characters that I played, 2, 3 different puppets. And what they would do is they would give us a script for whatever lesson or story they were trying to teach the kids for that day. And myself and 2 or 3 other people would do the puppet shows. And everything was kind of fly by the seat of your pants. So basically we would be handed a script maybe 5 minutes before we had to do the show, which for me was fun. I found it invigorating because it was an opportunity to learn how to do stuff. How do you say it? I'm trying to think of the word. Not random, but it was ad lib. That's what it was. You had to basically ad lib. So you had to read the script very quickly to get the gist of what the story was going to be, and then it was up to you to figure out what your character would be like as far as attitude wise and how they would go through the story. And then at the same time, the other people that I was with, they were all very good at doing that as well. So basically what we did was we would stick to the story as far as the basics of it, because it had a lesson in there for the kids. So that was the whole point to it. But if you felt like your character would say a line slightly different or would add lines to it, like if the line just said, okay, I'm going home now, but your character was kind of a mischievous teenager, which was one of my characters, then, maybe I wouldn't just say I'm going home now. Maybe I'd say it with a little bit of attitude, or maybe I would change the words a little bit, just something like that. So it was really fun to do that. And I did that for, I can't remember how long. I want to say maybe a year or 2. So it was a really fun experience. And at one time as a group, we had actually talked about maybe doing some kind of a TV show, like filming us doing the puppets and putting it on YouTube or, something like that. That never actually came to fruition. The group kind of, people get married, people move to different towns, they have kids, they have responsibilities, things happen, and so we weren't ever able to really coordinate that. But that desire to do some kind of a character play act or whatever and do a show of some kind still really stuck with me. And then I started, I had been playing Minecraft for a few years, and so what ended up happening was I needed tutorials to teach me how to do different redstone stuff. I was really getting into redstone at the time. So I started doing Google searches and searches on YouTube and started running into a specific channel that seemed to have a lot of tutorials for what I was looking for. And it was Mumbo Jumbo's channel. And he put out a video that was a charcoal factory challenge. Like he said, he'd come up with this way to make a charcoal factory, and he wanted to see if his viewers could do the same thing, and if so, could they, make it, post a video, and he would check it out. And so I made a video, and I posted it, and I'm going to assume this is how Mumbo Jumbo found out about me. Because a couple months later, he used to do a show called Best of Minecraft, and he actually showcased myself and even Zloy. Zloy got showcased in this video as well. And that's what kind of took me from 60 subscribers on my channel up to, I think we peaked out at around 27 to 2,800 or something like that. We got really close to 3,000, and then it just kind of tapered off from there. And what ends up happening is when you pick up a lot of subs because another channel said go sub to this channel, oh, pardon me, some of those people stick around. Some of them watch you and they're like, oh, okay, this is cool. So, but the majority of them don't. The majority of them will watch for a while and then they disappear because they subbed to you not because they like you. They subbed to you because somebody suggested it and they trust that somebody. And then they find out if they like you or not. And so most people don't take the extra step when they decide they don't like you to go unsubscribe. They just stop watching. And then there's a fair chunk of people that, get bored with the game itself or what you're doing and move on to other things. There's all kinds of fluctuations. But basically, that's what pushed our channel up to the numbers that it got. And it took us a couple of years to sort through the people that subbed just because Mumbo said so. So for about 2 years, we saw just a flat line on our videos. Not viewer count, but sub count. We would basically lose as many subs as we were gaining each day. And we literally sat at 2,600 and some change for almost 2 years. So it looked like the channel was stagnant, even though it wasn't when you looked at the stats, which is a little frustrating because it was really hard to gauge if we were doing something right or doing something wrong. And I've never been the best at understanding all the YouTube stats. And then here in the past 6-7 months or so, I've finally been seeing actual growth numbers on the channel where we're outpacing the subs we're losing, which is very encouraging, very encouraging. But that's kind of like a little bit of back history as far as where I came from. And when I saw Mumbo doing that and I made a video, I was like, what else do they do? So I noticed he had a Let's Play for a server called Hermitcraft. So I started watching that, and I ended up watching the entire series of that. And it was the first year that Mumbo was on Hermitcraft. I can't remember if that was season 2 or 3. It's been so long, I can't even remember now. But I remember watching all of it and thinking, wow, that was actually pretty fun to watch. And then stumbled upon a Zoomovoid and started watching him. And he took me a little bit longer to get into because he wasn't as energetic as Mumbo Jumbo. And Mumbo was the only person I'd ever seen do a Let's Play. So at first I was like, I don't know about this. But I started, I just kept watching Zoomovoid. And after a little while watching it, I realized, okay, I see it. I see what the Let's Play is versus the personality. I can see how multiple different people would do a Let's Play and what would make all Let's Plays similar. But at the same time, how each person would put their own personality into it. Because at this time, I was still very new at the whole concept of even doing gaming for YouTube. So it's just, I'm a very analytical person. So I'm sitting there observing and just trying to figure out all the nuance and all the different things that make something what it is. And these people seem to be successful. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to study what they're doing to figure out how they're doing it, how they're making it work. So yeah, that's kind of what that was. So as I started seeing all this, I realized, you know what, I could make videos like this too. That doesn't seem to be too difficult. It feels like all I'm doing is a puppet show, but I've got a virtual character instead of a puppet, which is awesome because puppets take coordination. Okay, you got to be able to, like the ones I had, you could move their hands around with little sticks. And so you've got to coordinate moving their hands and body language, the way their head moves, moving their mouth. There's all kinds of little tricks you can do with a puppet to give it personality. I don't have to do that on Minecraft. All I do is play a game. So it took a little bit of coordination to learn how to talk and to keep commentary going. And one little trick I found, like if some of y'all are interested in starting doing your own videos, I'll give you a little hint. Like one thing that I learned to do, and this is more for my own personality, if you start doing this, just explore who you are and how you talk and stuff, and you'll find out your own way of explaining it. Oh, cool. So I figured out I could melt down the steel leaf here. And yeah, okay, so basically what I did here was I figured out we need to do the coal engine to move on to the next age. So I'm basically running through looking at all the different materials I need to make the coal or the combustion coal engine, and I want to see how many different things I can make before we have to go back to the Twilight Forest to actually start gathering stuff again. But yeah, what I found to fill in commentary while I'm playing, because if you go back and watch some of the older videos, I'm a little bit slow. There's dead spaces of silence from not talking. It's not as upbeat. Pardon me. Sorry, I just drank a whole bunch of coffee, so it keeps making me burp. But what I learned to do was I'm very internal. I'm an introvert. Like, Somebody asked me once, on a scale of 1 to 10, how do you feel how much of an introvert do you think you are? I said a 9. Like, I can sit in my house, me and my wife pretty much, oh yeah, right here I figured out these things were turning back into leaves. They weren't turning into ingots. So I had to remelt them down to turn them into the rods, so I had cast them as rods. But pretty much myself and my wife are both very introverted, and we could literally just, like, we're homebodies. We could just stay in the house for days. We don't have to go out. We don't have to really interact with people. And don't feel like something's missing. So I'm very introverted. I'm very internal. When I'm not on camera, I'm very, very quiet. Believe it or not. In real life, I'm much more quiet than I am on camera. Now, when a group of people and I know that I need to interact with those people, I'm slightly less energetic than you hear me on camera. Like, I'm still kind of reserved, but when I talk, I sound very much like I do on camera. But the trick that I figured out to do was externalize everything that's going on in my head. So whatever I'm thinking about doing, the audience has no idea what I'm thinking. Just like in a conversation with a normal person right in front of you, you have no idea what they're thinking. So you want them to externalize it. You want them to say it out loud. And so I just decided to do that. I decided to take my inner monologue, my running thought process, and just vocalize it. So if I decide that I'm going to turn to the right and I want to run over to where that wood mill is at to mill some logs into planks, I literally say, hey, okay, let's go over here and we're going to take these logs and we're going to mill them into planks. And so see there, you heard me actually have like that little lilt in my voice and that different change. And so that way of talking, that style, I mean, if you really pay attention to like how I sound right now and then go watch one of my other videos, you'll notice there's just a slight difference in like the way that I pronounce words or the tempo of my voice, or the only way I can think to describe it is when I'm in character, there's almost like a musicality to my voice. And I don't mean like I'm singing or playing a song, but I mean there's a certain pattern of notes that follow my voice depending on a certain emotion or attitude or something like that. And I just attribute that to being quote-unquote in character. But like I said, at the same time, it's kind of strange because I don't necessarily consider myself as the Pigglesworth is a character like maybe you would see a famous actor or actress playing someone on a movie. And if you met them in real life, like in a movie, they're this total like psychopath, jerk, crazy person, murderer or something. And you meet them in real life and they're just the nicest, most polite person you ever meet. Like Anthony Hopkins. Anthony Hopkins, who played Hannibal Lecter, complete psychopath, sociopath kind of person. And in real life, he seems to me to be, a very proper, gentlemanly kind of person. That's who. Now, I've never met him, and I can't say that I've ever really seen interviews of him, so I'm kind of presuming. But something like that. I don't really consider myself to be like that when it comes to myself versus this character you see played on screen. It's much, much simpler and more subtle than that. Like I said, I feel like probably 95% of what you see on screen is literally who I am in real life. So if you like the character on screen, you'd probably like me in real life. And if you think he's annoying on screen, you'd probably think I was annoying in real life. So about the 5% that you don't see on screen is my own personal opinions about things in life and politics, religion, just all those other little things that you don't really want to inject into something like this. Because this is a show about playing a game. And my motivations, like what I keep in the back of my mind is try to be encouraging to the audience. Try to be interesting and do things like try to be creative. Be creative within this game. And then just not be afraid to be myself. It took me a long time to get comfortable with the fact that I'm not a pro at this game. The other people I was watching who were very good at it and very technical, I kind of tried to emulate them for a while, and I just realized that's not me. Like, when I make a redstone contraption, this thing is huge and overly complex and probably does things that most people would be like, yeah, I don't need my redstone to do this. But I do it because it's where I'm at. It's who I am. So it just took a little while to get comfortable with that. And so taking that attitude and that idea and trying to project that to others that are watching, that while it's good to use other people as inspiration, it's good to see other people that you admire or look up to study how they got successful or how they accomplished what they're trying to accomplish. That at the same time, if you are the same as somebody else, then there's no point in the lesser successful person existing. Okay, kind of take that in for a second. Think about that. It sounds a little cruel when you think about it, but just think that over. So if you had two people that are exactly identical in everything they do and say, but one is extremely successful at doing it and the other one is not, the one that's not doesn't need to exist, because the one that's successful is the one succeeding. So, and that's unrealistic. That's not how reality works. We're each unique and different. We each bring something to life and reality that the other never would. We each see things just slightly different than each other. We have our own experiences that colors and influences how we think and how we act. Now, I do believe that there's an overarching moral code that all of humanity shares. And by following and sticking to that moral code, it gives us all an even playing field for the rules of life and how everything works. And I also believe that life itself has order. And the best way to explain that is when you buy a car, you're told to put gas in it and change the oil. You're not told to pour Coca-Cola in the gas tank and to drain all the oil out of it and everything will be just fine. There are certain rules that every single car you ever buy, it's the same rule for every car. Now, yeah, we can get into different types of gasoline and diesel, okay? So, we're not going to go there. I just want this to be a very simplistic explanation. But there's, some basic tenets that you have to follow for that vehicle to work optimally and to last as long as possible. And so to me, that's what moral code of life is. There's a certain very basic things in life that if all of humanity follows, everything works optimally. Like every single culture that has ever existed that you study, there is some type of rule that exists that says you should not be allowed to take the life of somebody else just because you feel like it. And we call that murder. Now, the nuance of how you define murder and what murder is and where you draw the line at murder versus accidental death or, what is life itself, all of those things are argued and debated over time. But the very general basic premise, the simplistic statement, do not murder, that seems to be a very common thread throughout almost all of humanity. So stuff like that. And I've completely lost track of what the heck I was talking about before. But yeah, right here I figured out that I need fiery gears. And I think I was trying to figure out how in the world do we get fiery in there, and what I discover is I have to combine this fiery tears with iron ingots, and then I have to melt down the ingots and then cast them as gears. And I think what I end up doing is calculating and figuring out that I'm going to come up short in the amount of tears that I need. I'm not going to have enough for all the gears, so we are going to have to go back into the Twilight Forest. Yep, see, look at that, almost like perfect timing. I got to go back in the forest, and I got to figure out where another gas tower is, which there's only one on that map, So now that means that logically I have to go make another map, and I'm going to go south of this map and open that map up to see if I can find another gas tower. And apparently I just babble on and babble on, because boy am I staring at this map for a long time not doing a darn thing. Wow. So, yeah, that was the whole rabbit trail thing of okay, let's see. How long has this been running now? Let me check and see. Okay, so it took me 27 minutes to explain why it is that you hear a different, slightly different voice than the voice that I have on screen. Yeah, I rabbit trail like you wouldn't believe. Like, there are times where my son and my wife start to get glazy-eyed and fall asleep because of the way that I explain things. I don't know. That's something that just me as a person I do in real life, is I'm always looking for how things interconnect and how different pieces of stuff rely on each other. I do that in my work. I do that in my creative processes in life. I do that in my philosophical thought processes in life. Just looking at the interconnectivity of everything and trying to understand it. Knowing I'm never going to fully understand it. But just, I don't know, to me that's like the complexity and the beauty of life, is seeing how all these different puzzle pieces of everything fit together, whether it be mathematics or music, art, sound, physics, science, philosophy, all these different expressions, and looking at them and how they all break down into very simplistic systems and how all those systems interact. Yeah, look at me, waxing philosophical. So, like I said, this is a very, very different video, very different approach. It's been quite some time since I've done like a commentary style video. I've got one that I did. It was a 2-year special for the channel. And what had happened was there was a server I'd played on before I ever started doing YouTube. I can't even remember the name of that server now. But if you'll look on the channel, everything is broken into playlists, and there's a miscellaneous playlist, and that one has the 2-year special on it. And Stormcraft might be the name of the server, I can't remember. But basically what it was is a public server. There's a lot of different people played on it. Uh-oh. Let me hit mute there. I'm watching the video as it plays back to make sure that I don't overtalk the length of the Now why in the world did I go back here to the Between Lands? I know I was checking on the frog. Oh, that's what it was. I was looking to see if I had any of this ore, because I was going to need to make another Tinker's smeltery controller or something like that. And I figured I would check on the frog as it was here, just to see how it was doing. How you doing, buddy? What's up? But yeah, oh gosh, okay, so I've completely lost my train of thought there. Oh yeah, and that server, what I had done was somebody on the server wanted to commission me to build something for them. So I told them, all right, you tell me what exactly it is you're wanting, and you are responsible for gathering all the materials, and I'll build it. And they wanted a skyscraper type building with different rooms in it that they could rent out to people on the server for, like, give them a diamond a month and they could use it or something like that. And so I ended up building a version of a giant building that looks like a sail to a boat, and it's in Dubai. I can't remember the name of it. But in that video, I run through and I show off that structure, and at the same time, I do something kind of like this, where I'm slightly out of character, and I'm more talking about remembering like where I've been and how far I've come in 2 years of making videos. That was really strange, as the other day I noticed that the channel now has 500 videos available on it, and it kind of blows my mind that I've made 500 videos and put them on YouTube. That's a lot of work. That's craziness. But yeah, I'm really enjoying doing this. I really am. I've pretty much settled on the fact that I'm probably never going to make a career out of this, and I'm fine with that. When I first started, I was like, it'd be really cool if I could do this full time. And I just don't see it. I don't think it's in the stars. One, Minecraft is not what it was 5 years ago on YouTube. There's a lot more things to watch on YouTube now. There's still an audience for it, and they're still adding stuff to the game. So there's a core group of people that still play. Pardon me. But I'm not on the biggest servers. I'm not in the biggest groups. I have not figured out how to make the most viral video. So trying to get the attention of that small group and get a large majority of them to watch you, people only have so many hours. Oh, look. Did I mess something up here? I think, yeah, look. I'm banging my head against the wall. It's been forever since I did that. I remember that now. I don't remember what I just did. I messed something up somehow. And I keep pointing at that or else. I don't know why. Oh, I know what it was. I just found that ore was sitting in a chest, and I went all the way to the Betweenlands to find out the ore was sitting right there the whole time. So yeah, total dirt moment. Total moment to bang my head against the wall. No problem. But I understand, most people only have so many hours in the day that they can watch YouTube. So you have to divide attention over the amount of people available and the amount of people that are providing content. And for just whatever reason, I have never figured out how to get YouTube to work to my advantage to get myself out there. I don't know. There's several people I've talked to off camera to try and figure out, are there different things I could do? And at the end of the day, the few different things that I'm already not doing, I just decide it's either not me. Like there's a certain point where you start doing stuff and you realize this is not who I am. This is not my personality. I can do this, but it's absolutely exhausting to do this because this is not a true reflection of myself. And I don't mean anything immoral or tricky. I don't mean like clickbait stuff or anything like that. It's just like there's certain style videos that people do that are successful, and I don't have the energy or the creativity or the means to make those kind of videos. So I don't. I have very, very, very much enjoy. Oh gosh, yes, this gave me an absolute heart attack. I remember that. Had no idea that anvil was going to break, and I think it's broken on me before and freaked me out. I still wish they would have like a cracking animation so you knew at least something was going to go on. Yeah, I remember when that thing exploded, I like to jumped out of my chair and freaked out. So, sorry, you'll miss that. You don't get to hear that. But yeah, I very much enjoy playing the game and doing commentary. And I like making tutorials, but tutorials take a lot of work. They take way more work, believe it or not, than at least for me. If there's a way or a method of filming it that is different from what I'm doing, I haven't figured it out yet. Now, doing stuff like MHC with Zloy and Dagcraft, that's a ton of fun. It's very simple, quick, and easy to film. It gets me a little bit of exposure on their channels. I feel like at this point, we've done it for almost a year. So as far as getting exposure on their channels, I feel like that has kind of tapered off. Now, that's not the reason why I do it. I'm just talking about as far as the trying to get your channel to grow and different background approaches to stuff. That is a factor. You do have to think about that. Excuse me. There's nothing wrong with thinking about stuff like that. What you have to be careful of is, do I start thinking about that and nothing else? Does your sole motivation become, I do things because they're going to give me an outcome that benefit me, and that's the only reason I do it? Like, if you're doing a regular job, sometimes that mentality works. But there does come a point in life where you're like, okay, I have to find a job that actually gives me fulfillment, that actually lets me, oh yeah, I wanted to see how much, there's an insane amount of space in that chest, that single chest. I don't know why I'd never made gold chests before. I never even explored that mod. So that mod I'd probably need to look at doing some more, because it's got way more space in it than that, a double chest. But yeah, I mean, especially when you're younger, or if you just, you're kind of down and out, working fast food or something like that, you got to have the money. You got to have money to survive. But at some point in life, you start going, okay, if I've got to do this job thing to survive, it might be a good idea to do a job that actually makes me feel fulfilled in life, or that I'm getting to express my talents or who I am, something like that. And, so like with YouTube, like I said, it did not succeed the way I thought it would. But at the same time, my creativity that I express in life right now seems to be very much my inspiration is when I'm making videos for playing Minecraft. And I know someday that will change. I know that someday the inspiration for building stuff in this game will not be there anymore. My inspiration will change to, who knows? Drawing comic books, writing stories, writing new music, creating video games, creating documentaries. Who knows? There are so many, things available, and there's so many things that I would still like to accomplish in life that I know one day my mind is going to fixate on something else, and my creative outlet is going to want to go in that direction. But for now, it hasn't. So for now, even though I don't see the YouTube success that I would like to see, as far as following the avenue of making a career out of YouTube, I still do YouTube because those that watch are sincere. They interact. Oh yeah, this is where I accidentally tried to, I clicked the wrong thing and wanted to make, I accidentally made a fiery block instead of a fiery gear, and the problem is that thing has to fill up. So now I realize, great, I'm going to have to go find some more fiery to make some more ingots so that I can fill up that block, just to get the block out of there, to melt it down to make the gears. Totally accidentally clicked the wrong thing. Way to go, Piggy, way to go. But yeah, I know that I'm not going to make a career out of this, and I'm fine with that. But like I said, the people that do watch are sincere. They interact with the channel, they comment and stuff, and all of that's fun. All of that I get a lot of joy out of. Do I get the opportunity to make somebody's day better by making some silly video? Because at the end of the day, none of this really matters. This is all virtual. It's not real. But the things that I say and the personality that I put across, I hope inspires people to maybe be a better person in life, or maybe people can watch like how I deal with my own defeats in the game, and how I deal with all of the people that interact with me. And maybe it shows them, an example of, this is how I could treat people in real life. This is how I could treat myself. When I mess up, it's okay. Just, pick yourself up off the floor and try again. Don't put yourself down or feel so bad about messing up. Everybody messes up. If Piggy messes up and can still keep moving forward in this game, maybe I could do that in the game of life. Something like that. Maybe I could be an inspiration. So to me, at the end of the day, that's like my personal motivation for still doing YouTube, and that's where I find the most satisfaction and joy. One, hopefully inspiring other people in real life through a silly game as an example. And then two, just being able to express myself artistically within the game. Like when I was a little kid, I used to play with Legos, and I would play with Legos for hours. Just had a few sets, nothing big, bunch of mixed match parts. But I could sit in my bedroom all day long on a weekend and just play with the same Legos over and over and over again. Just building all kinds of different stuff. And I feel like Minecraft is like that. It's a virtual Lego set where you don't have to worry about money, you don't have to worry about space, you don't have to clean up your room when you're done, you just turn the game off. But basically, you can express yourself just like with Legos. You can build whatever you can imagine. And so I find great joy in that. Being allowed to, it's almost like sculpting in a way. You've got all these different things that you can work with to assemble. Now, you've only got a limited number of things available to you in types. Like, there's not an infinite types of blocks available. I mean, technically, if I programmed it in there, there would be. I ain't got time. Ain't nobody got time for that. But, within the game itself, there is a finite amount of types of items available to you to build with, but there's an infinite quantity of them, and there is an infinite amount of things that you can build with them. Probably not actually infinite, but if we calculated it out, it wouldn't be infinite. But if we calculated it out, it would take so many years to explore it all that no one person could ever do that in a lifetime. So in that respect, I would say there's more than I could ever explore in a lifetime. So for me, it becomes one of these things where it's like, like with redstone, or is there something I want to accomplish? And if there is, how could I make that work? How could I make something work the way I want it to with the limited ways that redstone works and within its rules and stuff like that? Or is there a certain structure that I've always wanted to see, or a certain building that my imagination, just comes up with, all that different stuff. That's the beauty of artistically expressing yourself as a sculptor and as a technical person in this game. That's where I personally find a lot of joy in playing this game versus being an inspiration to other people doing something completely different. Like whenever I'm doing music, that's what I try to do. I try to write very honestly about who I am and the lessons I've learned in life, but at the same time trying to pass that on to other people so that through my artistic exploration of sound, I'm trying to pass on inspiration to other people. This that you're watching, it's just the same attitude, but through the medium of video games and video. So I can see on the video itself that I'm starting to get close to the end of it, and this has been really nice. At first I was kind of concerned this wasn't going to work. I'll be honest with you, I haven't really even paid attention to what's going on the screen. Right here, I finally decided we need to get ourselves, I think, some more raven feathers. I know I'd already had some. I've got the map. I think I'm heading towards somewhere that I could actually open this map up. Oh, no. We're looking for torchberries. That's what it was. To make another magic map focus, I had to find torchberries. And I'm realizing, you know what? Whenever you need a tunnel with torchberries, you can't actually find it. I can find all the tunnels in the world until I actually need it. And then right here at the end, I was literally doing my spiel and about to give up on the video, and I was like, oh, look, a cave. And then I found the torchberries. So, but I'm going to go ahead and say my normal spiel now. So if you enjoyed this video, if you enjoyed the way this played out, totally unprepared, unplanned and everything, but I think it worked. I enjoyed doing this. If you enjoyed it, please click that like button. And if you're new to the channel, it's your first time watching, trust me, the other videos are very, very different. You might go watch a few of those videos just to see what I was talking about a personality versus who I really am. But if you want to watch more of them, go ahead and subscribe. Go ahead and click that like button, all that good stuff. The video has just faded out, so I think that's almost time for my voice to fade out. So thank you all so much for watching, and I know that the next video I will be back in character, back in the Twilight Forest, and we will be back trying to figure out this whole Sevtech Ages thing and see if we can get forward onto the next stage. So thank you all so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed it. Like I said, I did. And I will talk to you next time.